Welcome to class. My name is Selena Garofino. If you are enjoying these classes, I invite you to like and subscribe. I also welcome you to my website where you will find a host of free and paid instant access, live streaming, in-person teacher trainings, courses to help you deepen your personal work, your relationship with the practice. And of course, I would love to host you on one of my transformational retreats where we dive into folklore, myth, somatic, movement, and experiencing yoga and ritual and ceremony. They're the most wonderful thing. Today, we are going to get down into our hips, down into earthy, watery element, and we're going to start on our mat in a way that can be a little bit aggravating and sometimes freak people out a little bit, but later, by the end of the class, there's always a thank you. So if it seems a little intense in the beginning to go right into some of these deep hip openers and ground of being poses, I invite you to get curious and try to let go of some of the crystallizations and preconceived ideas and habitual ways of thinking about these poses that you might be holding on to, and come for a little ride. My intention today for us is that we would really lean into this idea of being wary of the swift route, the quick way through. We live in a culture now that promotes and pushes things being done with speed, of busting through things, rushing our healing, rushing our careers, rushing to teach things that we just learned, rushing to get the next certification or the next piece of paper, rushing to build our confidence, whatever it is. We want to read the cliff notes of everything instead of taking the time with the great piece of literature and to really diving into what the words mean and why they were there. We are so quick to want someone else to tell us how to do things rather than getting into the muck and struggling through certain things on our own. And I am here to tell you that it takes a long time to build your soul, and that excellent things are always difficult and always rare and always take a long time, but not all difficult things and not all rare things are excellent, and it's wisdom to know the difference. Look at mythology, for example. To learn to storytell requires that you steep in those stories for sometimes a decade, years, before the story reveals itself to you. To teach yoga in a way that really belies intelligence into the body and speaks to hearts and minds requires that you steep yourself in practice until you can wordlessly transmit something of meaning. To build our souls requires that we slow down and let ourselves really be cooked by life until things start to fall away. And what is left is some marrow, some essential stuff of life that has existed long before we arrived on this planet and will carry forward long after us. It's in that place that we really make contact with what the great Martin Shaw calls the bone memory, the ancestral and earthly and otherworldly knowing that supports us. So we are going to begin our physical practice going right into a pigeon pose, but with some good support. So I'm going to start with 3 blankets today, but at least 2. And you can use towels if you don't have blankets. And you're going to make this long rectangular shape with the blankets and do your best to have them be really neat. You're of course welcome to put a bolster under you if that's more your speed. But take the blankets and stack them, 2, 3, but really support it again because we're going right in so early. And then 2 blocks. Come to a downward facing dog just for a beat and lunge your right shin forward. And take a moment to organize your pelvis on those blankets. Get your back leg super clear behind you. And spin the top of the thigh down so that your frontal hip bones are both, in a sense, starting to move towards forward. And you're really connected to the perineum. And out of this active position in the lower body. You're really pressing the top of the back foot down. Take one block parallel to the long edge of your mat and one block parallel to the front edge of your mat, and come down. Resting your forehead. One block goes in the center of the chest, and then take your hands out in the shape of a V up on fingertips. Descending right away into your depths, starting low and close to the earth where things churn. The underground where the tree roots, where all this activity is happening. Fungi and tree roots and little creatures. But from above, or in winter, it looks like there's no growth there. Those are the realms we're playing in. The realms where things are really alchemized and in time becomes the stuff of your life and the stuff of your soul. The kind of knowing that is needed in these days and days to come with present difficulties is a knowing that asks us to take shelter, to cozy up for the long night of watch by the fire. Again, to really allow ourselves to steep till things start to fall away. So it becomes less about what we are accumulating in life and more a rhythm of what, again, is falling off, leaving something so essential. The thing that really nourishes, the bone broth, if you will. To put yourself ever more squarely in the present moment, I ask you now, get fully present with your breath and trace 5 breaths all the way to their end. At the bottom of each breath, just putting a number on that breath. No rush, no shaping it, just observation and intimacy with your own flow of breathing. Nice and gentle. Walk your hands in and remove the block out from under your chest. And now you're going to slide the back of your left arm to the floor and your left side of your head to the block. Bend your left elbow, make a fist in your left hand, and then drape your right palm over your left fist and spin your chest to the right, broadening your collarbones, still nice and clear and stable in the legs. Inviting a rhythm of quietude, setting up the conditions for receiving our inner transmission, for moving away from the desire to do and to be seen and into an attention to some deeper understanding. That is awaiting all of us. An invitation to attend to things and to give them the value and the attention they deserve, rather than rushing past a story, a knowing, a teaching, getting the quick heart and head knowledge of it without really putting it in our bones. Nice and gentle, unravel that. And here now, you're just going to lean over onto your right hip and swing your left shin around. And your left shin will cross in front of your right. The more parallel to the front edge of the mat, the more sort of intensity there might be here. I'm going to remove one of my blankets for this shape. If you wish, left shin on top of right in fire log pose. Stacking the shins, super tall. And then take your hands on your blocks and extend them out to the side, lifting your chest. The things that require our attention, that require a slow cultivation, are the things that feed us for a very long time. And the thing about it is we're often rushing because we think that on the other side of it, that life begins there. But life is moment by moment. It's a happening thing. It's breath by breath. And when you get to that next thing, there's always going to be another thing. 3/4 is always unseen. There's always a more. And so rushing to get to a destination that doesn't exist just puts us in such a hamster wheel. And instead, the invitation is to tend to the lesson, the teaching, the breath, the thing that is present now, that is right in front of us and asking to speak to us, asking to hold us. Get nice and tall from your perineum, and now you're going to twist to the right, taking your left hand to your right heel or to your right knee, depending on which hip shape you've chosen. And spinning right, just receive your breathing. Very good. Take your right arm up alongside of your ear, spin back up to the center. Good. And now unhook your left hand, take it up and take the frame over your head. Get nice and tall and hinge from your hip crease just part way down and then lift back up. 2 more times. Exhale, coming forward off the kidney band, opening the front body and lift. Good. Come down this time and stay. Bring your fingertips to the floor. And then rather than just rounding into your upper back, can you keep sending your tailbone back and lengthening the front of your spine, your front body, even as you fold a little bit? And again, receive your breathing. What can you give your attention to in this moment? No waiting for the next thing or the bell to ring or when you're going to leave this shape, but just a real holding of your breath and your presence and a listening. Lift your chest back up. We're coming right back into pigeon on the same side as we started, so your left shin is going to come back around. The pigeon will feel different after that effort and that work. And then back to a down dog. Take a moment and pedal through your feet, straightening one leg and then the other. And then give it a moment in the symmetry of the down dog. And now lunge your left shin. And sometimes for my pigeon and then my double pigeon, I need a different blanket setup. So I'm putting my third blanket back on. Again, spin your right thigh straight down. And then same block setup, one between the chest, one under the head, on their second highest height. Get very clear in the stability of the legs and take your hands out to the shape of a V. And drop in once again to breath. So much of what we consume nowadays is not nourishing. If you look at the food in the grocery store, it's empty but filling, non-nourishing but will stuff you full. We absorb content and film and rapidly produced content, information in unintentional ways and feed our minds and our communities and our hearts with non-nourishing things. Things that are produced quickly but with very little meaning. And we wonder why we feel empty and why things aren't satisfying. And there's an invitation to get more clear about where we're investing attention, and to be willing to do the difficult work of committing to the slow excavation of teachings of ourselves, of poetry, of art, and to produce, create, and be in excellence. Take 3 more breaths here. Letting each breath travel you a little deeper into your personal depths. As you're ready, and nice and slow, start to walk yourself back up. Remove the block from under your chest. Take the back of your right arm and the right side of your head to the block. Bend at the right elbow, making a fist in your right hand. Drape your left palm over your right fist and spiral your heart. Coming into that rotation. Good. One more breath here. Take your left hand off and gently unravel that. This time your right shin will swing around. Right shin crossing in front of left. Or again, if it's available to you, stack the right shin on top of the left shin in fire log pose, Agni Sambhasana as it is known. Arms out on blocks, creating some literal and energetic space under your armpits. And commit to an internal steadiness and a cultivated attention. Now take your right hand to your right heel and your left fingertips behind you and spin to the left. And again, you might be holding your knee, depending on which leg configuration you've chosen, equally good. And it's out of holding ourselves in our depths that we can spin and catch the vision. It's only by plumbing our personal depths that we are able to alchemize those things into poetry and presence to share back outward with the world in a meaningful way. Good. Take your right arm up alongside of your ear, spin center. Take your left arm up and take the frame the way that you don't like to. Take a breath in. Contract your hips as you exhale so that there's real stability. And then inhale and lift back up. 2 more times. Big breath in. And exhale, fold forward. Rise, breathe in. This time, exhale partway down and stay, fingertips to the floor. And again, rather than moving into the back body, keep lengthening the front body forward. Full awareness and presence of breath. I read this line in a book the other day of holding the breath like a baby. It was a quote from, I believe, Suzuki Roshi. Lengthen your front spine to come up. Right leg swings right back around to where we began, to the pigeon on the left side. Just for a moment of connection. Very good. Plant your hands and step back, down dog. Bend your knees and lift your sitting bones higher, index fingers clear on the mat. Shift forward to a plank pose. Steady in the arms and the legs and your belly, firm thighs. Keep your toes curled under and draw your pubic bone towards the mat into a back bend. And then back to down dog. Walk your feet forward. You're going to step over your blankets. You might need to remove one if you have a lot. And bring your heels onto the blankets. Measure 2 fists between your arches. Take the frame over your head. Feel the connection to your feet below you. Every cycle of breath, things are slowing down internally. Cultivating what Viktor Frankl described as the space between the stimulus and the response. A real willingness to absorb, integrate, harmonize the lessons. That commitment to the cultivation of wisdom, which is our ability to integrate lessons and to move forward with kindness, leaving the feelings, keeping the instruction. Release your fingertips to the floor. Bend your knees deeply and then bring your elbows to your knees so you're in a deep chair pose on the balls of the feet, supported by the blankets. Take your seat back and your chest forward. Bring your fingertips to touch rather than the palms. Just look gently out at the floor in front of you. Super strong in your legs. And out of that stability of the legs, the breath can move a little easier. Attentive. Your loving care, holding it like a small child. Good. Take your arms by your ears, full chair. And now push all the way up to stand. Lower your arms to your side. We're going to squat, so if you need to, widen the feet a little bit. And then drop your hips into a malasana. Bring your elbows to the insides of your knees and your fingertips to touch. Lift your chest. Steady in the legs. Very good. Take your right arm now to the inside of your right leg and expand your left arm wide as you turn your chest left. Broaden your collarbones. And then your left hand to the inside of your left leg and your right arm high. What in your life are you attempting to speed through that is asking for you to slow down? Come back to the center again, fingertips touching. If you think about every morning, and this is a more superficial example of what we're talking about, but every morning that you snag your sweater on the door handle and you spill your coffee in your car and all these things that occur and we're like, why me? Why is life kicking me this way? And if we think about it, it's really just that we're going too fast. Our attention is scattered, we're rushing around, and we're making messes along the way. Lower your seat onto your blanket. And what would happen if instead, in those moments, we received the information being given to us, which is to pause? What would the rest of that cycle look like? Extend your legs. I like to have blocks for my forward fold, so if you like, a couple blocks. And then bend your knees to pull the pelvis forward. So you're tilting the tailbone back and the pubic bone forward. Take your arms up and a big breath in. And then hinge from your hip crease and fold forward. And this is where I like to place the blocks under the soles of my feet. Let the belly and the thighs meet, if that's available to you. A nice bend in the knees. And drop in once again to your inner space. Nothing to do but trace the breath with your attention and to feel into the sensation of the body. Be with yourself for 3 full breaths. Tracing the whole shape and temperature and texture of the in-breath and the out-breath for 3 full cycles. And then lengthen the front of your spine, and with your in-breath, rise. Good. Scoot your seat forward of the blankets. You can just brush them off to the side. A little activation of the navel center where we hold so much vitality and courage and our stability, our steadiness. So bend your knees, soles of the feet on the floor, grab onto the backs of your knees and lean back till the toes become light. This is one place one may stay. Or if you wish, lift your shins and then point your toes and then draw your toes back towards the top of the foot. So you're in a little demi-point. Squeeze your inner thighs. And maybe just 2 fingers under the calves. Maybe extend your arms, or if you're feeling frisky, extend your legs. And in this instability, find your inner stability. The activation, the little quiver, the shake, soft smile. And then bend your knees and soles of the feet together, Baddha Konasana, knees wide and fold forward. If you think about even building muscle, this hypertrophy to build muscle mass, it's a slow process of cultivation. And even that, so many are seeking ways to do it quickly. Look at the diet industry or steroids or all these ways people try to bypass the long road through time. Inhale and lift your chest back up, right back into Paripurna Lean back, whatever variation of boat pose you're taking. But again, the deep work, the alchemical work is on the space between. Listen, this time, bend your knees. You can assist yourself and extend your legs out into an Upavishta Konasana, a wide leg fold. And no, we haven't done a lot of opening for the inner thighs, so be gentle. Don't need to go deep or all the way to your furthest pose. Lengthen the front of your spine and come up once again. Same thing, right back in Paripurna 2 more sets. Bend the knees, Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees wide and fold. Lengthen the front of your spine, come up right back into Paripurna, a little more velocity now, same attention. If you're feeling very frisky, you can take your hands out of the equation, extend the legs, Upavishta Konasana. Same inner steadiness, right back in, last round, Paripurna. Savoring those little quivers of your inner stability growing, Baddha Konasana. Right back in Paripurna boat. Squeeze legs together, thighs to belly. Upavishta Konasana, last time, into your fold. Very good. Lengthen the front of your spine. Last Paripurna. You can do it. You've chosen it. Be in it. Take the long road through time. Another breath. And then bend your knees. Feet on the floor. Hook your elbows around your knees. Just a little rock side to side. Good. Grab your blanket once again. 1 or 2. The normal fold of a blanket or a towel, like so. 2 if you can, so that you can get some real height. Just sitting in Sukhasana, just a nice easy seat. Organize yourself right on your perineum. And then spin to the right hand to left knee. Soft smile, use your in-breath, come center, and then as you exhale, go the other way. Right hand to left knee, spinning left. And then use your in-breath and come back to the center. Rest your hands on your knees and close your eyes or soften your gaze 9/10 of the way. Exhale completely and then inhale through the nostrils all the way down into the depths of the low belly, pelvic floor. And exhale from low belly, pelvic floor, up and out of the nostrils, little contraction of the navel point back. A nice slow Ujjayi breath, putting a little shape to the breath, little constriction around the vocal cords so that you're slowing down the speed at which you're pulling the breath in. And the in-breath and the out-breath of equal length, samavritti. And now we'll start to add a breath retention at the top of the in-breath and the bottom of the exhale. This is sometimes called a box breath. So inhale for 4 or 6 counts. Hold the breath 4 to 6 counts. Exhale 4 to 6 counts. Stay empty 4 to 6 counts. As you breathe in this box breath, image the moon waxing, growing brighter. Your awareness, your consciousness, and at the top of the in-breath, the full moon is above you, basking you in that knowing. As you exhale, the moon wanes, returning to darkness. And at the bottom of the exhale, you hold empty for the fertile darkness of the new moon. And continue in this way, just invoking these stages of moon cycle and the steadiness of a 4-part breath. No rush to get anywhere or be anything, but just allowing cycles of great nature and life to be what they are. And a willingness to be cooked in it. To really distill down to the essence of things. One more cycle of breath. Release the control of the breath. Open your eyes, set the blankets aside, and come onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. Make sure your props are out of the way. Take your arms to a T shape. And then take both knees to the right and your head to the left. Let yourself be supported and held by the earth. Increasingly drawn to that inner quiet, that inner slowing down. There's nothing to be but present for this breath. So often we come to a yoga practice or we meditate or do breath work because we're looking to ease symptoms of suffering, and practice offers that. A few minutes of breath can change your whole chemistry and physiology. Moving when you feel stuck will shake that up promptly and again shift your chemistry. But the bigger shifts of the cultivation of the type of mind and heart and state of being and attitude that we are seeking comes from the accumulation of the long game. The 10 years of cumulative practice, the 20 years, the 30. Breath after breath strung together, all these moments of attention in our meditation seat that in time rewires the brain, builds gray brain matter, creates epigenetic changes that we can pass on to future generations. Take your knees to the other side, nice and easy. This is the sort of cultivation that the long road through time gives us. Be wary the swift route, and be willing to cozy up to the discomfort of a life of learning, of holding, of not rushing to be who you think you should be, fully present for who you are. Bring your knees back up to the center. Happy baby. Knees to armpits, ankles over knees. If you can, grab a hold of the pinky edges of your feet and lengthen your spine on the mat. And then make your way into Shavasana. Coming to lie on your back for just a couple minutes of quiet and stillness. And when I close the practice, if you have more time, stay and rest as long as you wish, as long as feels appropriate. As you come into this final rest, your only job is to give your full awareness and attention to the natural rhythm of your breathing, and inviting a deeper rhythm of quiet and relaxation with every breath that washes over you. I invite you to stay here as long as you wish. If it's time for you to move on, deepen your breath and wiggle your fingers and toes. Make your way to a fetal position on one side. And use your top hand to press yourself to a seat. And then bring your prayer hands, your thumbs in front of your nose and mouth, and bow your chin. To each one of us finding the forbearance and tenacity, the staying power to choose the long road through time, the soul building route. To be okay with not knowing and to commit to a real inner cultivation and steadiness. the kind of knowing that will carry us through these times and the times to come. To each of your practices and all of your hearts, I gently bow. Thank you always for your presence here. I will see you next time.